Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Welcome to our first episode of
Standing Room Only. I am Sheyne, the old grumpy Mets fan, and with me is
Victor, the very optimistic Mets fan.
Let it be known that the reason that I am the grumpy old one is that I am damn near 39 and lived too long to have any faith in this fucking team. Yet I have Standing Room Only season tickets. And Victor is?
And I'm 23 years old, and I started watching the Mets in 2006, so they weren't that disappointing.
Oh, the definition of a fucking millennial. Wonderful. Anyway, positivity, man. So, I guess, why do we even start this podcast?
So this podcast started off when we were trying to launch another podcast, where we had another co-host. Unfortunately, she dropped out, and we pretty much had a disclaimer that we could not use any of the footage available.
Yes.
So that one was more of us just, bullshitting,
every
talking
day,
around.
life,
yeah. And then we realized we're probably the only two people who believe in this idea as of now. And we need to probably come up with an idea that we're both stand strongly behind. So
exactly. And we both love this team. We do bleed orange and blue.
And I grew up in Queens, so.
Yeah. No, I grew up in the Bronx, so I lived more of my life than you've been alive, dealing with wearing Mets jerseys in a very Yankee, stanky, skanky town of people just ridiculing me. So I've lived the hard life. We love the team as much as they don't love us back.
In 2005, I became a Mets fan. I had no idea about baseball. I grew up in a Eastern European household, so all it was just soccer, and whenever I was home, I would just watch games on TV. Yeah, we would watch soccer, football. And
What about football?
Since we only had local cable, the Mets would play on Channel 11, and probably like every Friday or Sunday game, the Mets would be on, and I just followed there. The first memorable Mets event I remember watching on TV was David Wright making a barehanded catch.
The over-the-shoulder,
yeah, the over-the-shoulder catch.
Dive.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
And from there, I was just like, okay, I think I'm going to be a Mets fan.
Nice.
I grew up in Astoria, Queens, and I used to play like street baseball, and all these kids were Yankees fans. So but I wanted to fit in and wanted to play baseball with them, so I told them that I was also a Yankee fan. So I would try to fit. So I would be like, "Yeah, let's go Yankees," but deep down in my heart, I was always rooting for the Mets.
Wow, you.
Yeah, I was a little what's the proper word for that?
A bitch?
No, not a bitch. I was.
You were a turncoat. You were in disguise.
Yeah, I was
you were a spy.
I was a Mets fan in disguise.
You were shameful of who you were.
Well,
yeah. First of all, you were in Queens. So I really don't think there's any fucking excuse for that.
But the thing is, on my block, there were a lot of Yankee fans for some reason. Yeah. All the kids, they're like, "Let's go Yankees."
Well, because that was, it's post Yankee dynasty, but it was only 10 years away from it. So, it's from the beginning of it even too. So they were only with 2005. You're only 5 years out of them beating the Mets in the World Series, but you didn't have any pride in yourself or confidence.
Well, because I didn't know about baseball.
You sold out.
I barely knew the rules.
You sold out.
I learned by playing video games. That's how I learned the rules of baseball.
God, you're such a millennial. I'm so old. I'm gonna kill myself. I'll probably die on this podcast of a heart attack, and then it'll be your show. It'll be great. You don't have to share the limelight with me. Whatever.
And then after that, in 2006 when the Mets were good, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm a Mets fan." Confirmed.
Oh, you bandwagon bitch!
I was. I remember the Carlos Beltrons, the Delgado. We were talking about Sean Green.
Sean Green,
Moises Alou. Part of that
Moises Alou, yeah. Well, no, 2006. They had
Oh my goodness! Paul Lo Duca catching.
They had Paul Lo Duca catching. That was right after the Piazza years.
Let's look up that roster.
No, they had Cliff Floyd was in left field.
Yeah.
Moises came, I believe, in 2007.
Okay.
And so it was left to right. It would have been because they didn't start the year with Sean Green, I don't believe.
No, they got him from Arizona.
Yeah, so it was Cliff Floyd, Carlos Beltran, and then
who I loved. He was my favorite player.
And of course, you had the consummate left side of the infield with David and
Jose.
And second base was kind of a platoon position with Valentin and whatnot. And was Damian Easley on that team?
Yeah, he was. I remember he hit a walk-off. I remember watching it on TV. It was against the Rockies. I think he hit one home run to tie the game.
Yeah.
And then he hit another home run to win the game. Yeah. And I remember screaming in the house. I was like, acting like they won the World Series, but
And then, of course, Delgado at first, holding
Yeah.
it down. And then you had the rotation of Pedro, El Duque, Tom Glavine, and whoever whoever else.
whoever's worth remembering from that team.
Exactly. Well, that team was a very good team.
Yeah.
So you'd say your gateway into the Mets was David Wright in that one play. That's the play
Yes, that was and that was the first T-shirt I bought.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, my gateway was actually Keith Hernandez, which is the jersey I'm wearing right now, the '86 Classic jersey. I was 7. I remember '86. I was 6 in '86, and I remember it in the background. My mother wasn't really big into baseball, so it was there, and I remember it, but it wasn't like I didn't get the chance to live in that moment. But 1987 came, and I didn't know dick about baseball really, and I was a terrible player. So we got a scholarship, not based on my play, but because we were dirt poor, to the Astor Little League in the Bronx. Okay. And before the season starts, you have like picture day, like at school. And get your little baseball card made and your little plaque statuette cardboard cutout thing. But you have to put who your favorite player is in the majors on the back of the card. So they're like, who's your favorite player? I'm going, and so one of the mothers of this girl on the team, Jamie, her mother pulls out 2 baseball cards from her. She pulls out Don Mattingly and Keith Hernandez. She goes, pick one of these is your favorite, pick one of them. Because they owned the town. They were the first baseman of the town. And I looked at Don, and I looked at Keith, and Keith. I was like, something about Keith drew me in. Maybe it was the piping colors. Who knows what the hell it was. But from get-go, from my gut, without even a question, it was like, that drew me in. I just knew I was a Mets fan, and they were. So, I mean, '87 was a bad year, but '88, when we should have gone to the World Series, fuck Earl Hershiser, they were so great, and so I grew up in the tail end of the '80s, what should have been a dynasty, where really was a flash in the pan, and then the '90s, I kind of fell off, and the strike and this, that, and the other thing, and I wasn't raised knowing that you root for the laundry so much and not so much for the players necessarily. So I was like, oh God, all my favorite, Carter's gone, Straw's gone now, Hernandez is gone. All my favorites, like Doc is gone. It's Mookie, so I was like, I don't like these people anymore. And so I fell off with that and the strike, and then came back around the time that you got into it.
Okay.
When watching flashes of 2006, and then I had only been to one game my whole life in '88. My neighbor got us ticket, and it was a David Cone one hitter against the Padres, and Keith Hernandez hit a home run. So I got to see my favorite player of all time hit a home run. And then I went to my very second game for the Mets. I had been to various games in between, and it was against the Cubs in May. It started at 10:10 p.m. because it was just rain for hours. Got to sit right two rows behind home plate in Shea Stadium, and it was like a 6-0 blowout for the Mets. And it was just like, oh shit, this is I love being back here, and been to nothing short of 20 games per season since then.
Yeah, same here. I would I caught a couple games at Shea Stadium. From there, I went to most of my games, I would say, now at the new ballpark at Citi Field.
For your time. Yeah, mine too. But
because when the Mets had that magical run in 2015, I think I went to at least 30 games that year.
Yeah.
I was just buying tickets off StubHub almost every day. In 2015.
Oh, 2015, sorry. That's 13, yeah.
And then after that, I was just like, all right, I'm going to dedicate at least 10 to 15 games. And that's what I stuck with. I would say I went to that World Series game, that Game 5 against Kansas City.
Ooh.
And I've never seen that stadium more electrified. Literally, I was up in, I think...
more demoralized at the end.
I was like in section 524, and I pretty much remember just having to stand next to everyone side to side.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Matt Harvey went deep into that game, up until the 8th inning, where it was 1-1, and I was just like, put him back in. Everyone was chanting, we want Harvey, we want Harvey.
And then an inning later, I was like, why'd you put him back in?
Well, no, I mean, there was a little bit of dispute in the.
Was there in the stadium?
Not in the stadium, in the dugout, because original Terry Collins didn't want to put him in. Mm-hmm. So I mean, based off that, Sayers manager doesn't have faith in you to put you back in, it could mess with your psyche.
Yeah, I never really got on Terry for that decision. I got him
Yeah.
every other decision he's made pretty much, but that one, everyone felt the electricity that this was a magical night that he was going to go the distance.
And who knows, maybe that could have turned the series around for the Mets.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you hope for, because then it's 3-2. It's a lot different than 3-1.
And then I think they would have played another game at Citi Field and then taken the last two to Kansas City.
No.
Or they would have flipped.
No. They would have just went back to Kansas City. Okay. That was game 5. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it would have been like I stayed the entire game and I saw the Kansas City Royals host up a championship because I was just like, you know what, I'm probably not gonna get this opportunity ever again. Yeah. However, that is probably the most disappointing I've ever felt as a Mets fan.
Well, yeah, it's understandable. I mean, I was there. The most disappointing I ever felt was 2000. I was there the collapse, the last game. Yeah. Where Glavine gives up however like 6 or whatever in the first inning
against the Marlins.
Yeah, and I'm watching the scoreboard with the fucking Brewers, and that was just.
But that was before they had the second wild card spot. Maybe it would have been different.
Oh, it would have been completely different. Yeah, but that just.
And that was the last game. Was that the last game, or that was the season?
That was the last game of the season.
Okay, and then 2018.
The 28.
But I feel like the Mets, they also had a collapse in 2018. I mean, in 2008.
Yeah, they
did.
In 2008. Yeah, they had back-to-back years they had a collapse, so it was just awful.
I have a ticket from my 8th grade teacher, knew I was a huge Mets fan, and she went to that final game, and she gave me the ticket laminated.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So I went to the second to last game.
Okay.
So I saw the last win at Shea, but not the last game. So who are your top 5 Met players of all time? That gives the audience a good idea of where your head is.
The time is David Wright. That's number 1. Or should I start from bottom all the way? I guess unanimous order. I would say David Wright. He was my favorite player to begin with. After that, Carlos Beltran. I idolized him in center field, and whenever I played Little League, I was just like, all right, I want to play center. That's it. Yeah, I would play in my front yard, and I would like pop the ball up, and I would lean against the fence to catch it over the wall like he would. Then after that, I think Jacob deGrom. I think especially for this time in he joined the team in 2015 or is it 2014?
2014.
2014. Because I actually went to his debut game against the Yankees.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
So Jacob deGrom, and that gives me 2 players left. I would go. If I'm going back, I would say Mike Piazza and Darryl Strawberry. That's who I'm representing.
You're wearing today, yeah. We got 17, 18 on. Me would be Keith first, always. Jose second, Jose Reyes, and David Wright. I mean, David and Jose kind of flip spots. I guess the top 3 can flip spots depending on my mood. I mean, Keith was the ultimate. Keith was my gateway. Mookie Wilson. Okay. I mean, it's just the guy who's been there for so long in and out of the organization. He just represents. She's such a great ambassador for the Mets when it comes down to it, without being a puppet for the Mets. Like, he'll call them out on their bullshit. And then Strawberry, I mean, I mean, that 3-4 spot or 3. I mean, because Carter I loved Carter, so I guess I might have taken Mookie out. Yeah, I got so Keith, Jose, Wright, Carter, and Strawberry. They still have quite the kinship to that '86 team. And finally, final question before we get into current events with the Mets: what jerseys do you own? What players?
Well, I have the Darryl Strawberry jersey. I still have my Carlos Beltran jersey from when I was a kid.
Is it a black jersey?
It was a black one, yeah.
I missed those.
I guess we're not counting T-shirts, right? Because I have countless T-shirts events. All right. Yeah. Jersey. I have Curtis Granderson. That was one of the first jerseys I got when the Mets, in like the early, like 2010. When did he come to the team?
He came to the team 2014.
2014.
I'll
have to look that up. But I remember that was like the first of the newer Mets jerseys that I got. It was the Curtis Granderson. From there, I bought a David Wright jersey back in 2015. I have that's the blue one. Yeah. The alternate one that they wear. Then I have a personalized jersey with my name on it, which Sheyne cuts ass on me for. And I think that would be it. I don't have a whole stock of them.
Yeah, I don't either. I have 7 in total. My very first one, my girlfriend at the time in 2008 bought me, which was the black Jose Reyes jersey, which had that non-official final season patch.
Oh, okay.
For Shea Stadium. Then then they got rid of. I had a few that had like no names in the back. You know,
I mean, but that's fair. I would do the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, now I'd rather have the name. I always rather have the name, but I had some that didn't have the name. 2 of them, I think, and then the next one was a Jose one again because it was $10 at Modell's.
Wow.
It was
like, after he got traded.
It was like, well, he wasn't traded. It didn't just extend him an offer. It was like October 2011.
Wow.
So it's like a week or 2 after his first last game with the Mets, and I had a gift card for it. Oh no! It was December. It was right after Christmas. It was a Christmas gift card, and I'm going and they labeled it $10.
Yeah, and that was you already signed with the Marlins, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think he had already signed. And so I got that, and that's a white pinstripe one.
Okay.
The first one was the black one. The second one was pinstripe. And then I got a right one that was the spring training jersey. I had that weird old 70s piping around the top, and that I got a right, which shrank in the wash, so I can't wear it anymore because I'm a fat fuck. And then I got a right one that's the blue, the blue home, and then the Jose Reyes one when he came back, I got the blue road jersey that has the gray New York with the orange piping. But I have a Syndergaard one that my friend Dan gave me. Nice. But I wouldn't have gotten a Syndergaard one on my own. Not that I don't really love Thor when he's throwing it up, but I just wouldn't have necessarily gotten on my own. I have a medium Piazza one that was a gift for a girl I was seeing, but she lived abroad, and I mailed it for Christmas, and then it came back because they want to charge like another $100 for her just to pick it up from this very fucked up. And so now it's just sitting in my closet because we don't talk anymore. But my ultimate is this one, the Keith Hernandez 1986 Cooperstown jersey, which was a birthday present from another girlfriend in like 2013, I believe, or 2013. So that's my prized possession. All right. So recent events in Mets land. So the series with the Nats that they just swept.
The Mets needed that.
They did need it.
If they got swept by the Nationals or they lost 3 of those 4 games, season would have been over. It would have been the collapse that we had last year in June, where we went like 5-21.
Yeah.
It would have been a miserable way. The rest of the season probably would have been over.
Do you think it's real hope or do you think it's false hope?
I think it's real hope, honestly. I mean, think about you have a mix of players. You have really young guys, like you have your Pete Alonsos, Ahmed Rosario, and they're kind of playing alongside these, not to say battered veterans, but these people that have been
I
in the
think
league
battered veterans are pretty good
and with
way to describe
Carlos Gomez and Rajai Davis, who hit a home run the other game that we went to, and now Altair's fairly new to the league, right?
I mean, they just brought him on, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think to have that veteran presence in the clubhouse does motivate those guys a little bit. I mean, I know we're not the biggest fans of Todd Frazier. I know the goal with that Cano trade was to kind of have him show Rosario, have him try to become a leader in the clubhouse, but I don't think it's panning out exactly as
I think I hope that's I don't know. I mean I wouldn't put it past Brody and the people in the front office to think that he would become this leader.
Yeah.
But that's never been him. I think they were just hoping that he was, or I mean, they could have thought that, but that he was looking for redemption from the steroids last year, to be back in the big market because he loves the spotlight and just hit power for power.
Yeah, I mean, we did it mostly for the closer too.
Well, that was the main thing of that deal.
Yeah.
You know, the Diaz, getting Diaz was the main thing. Cano was kind of take this contract off our hands kind of thing, which is, you know, what do you think that's a smart deal?
If Kalenic starts destroying the league in 5 years from now, then I'm going to be like, you know what, we take the short end of the stick because who knows where Diaz is going to be. However, like, I'm not sad that we lost Jay Bruce. He was kind of...
Yeah, no.
I don't know. He was a very weird figure for the Mets. Like, he was there, but not really there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he had. I mean, I don't know his stats.
I mean, just another Jason outfielder when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And the curse of the free agents. You come here, you get injured, and that's it. And then you suck, and people don't like you.
Yeah, I would say, going back to the original question you had, I think that was a turnaround for the Mets. I mean, now if they're going to start losing 2 more games to the Detroit Tigers, then you're kind of flip-flopping. But if they could pick up these next 2 games, they could go into June with a strong head on their shoulders, and, they could change things up. I
mean, that's the hope, right? I mean, you hope that they have some consistency because, I mean, at least last night's loss, which was the Friday, May 24th, 9-8 loss, was a well-fought game. It was home run happy for everybody, which was fine. They picked up Thor. Thor had a bad day, but that's the hope, is that there's some kind of fight and consistency that's back with this team, and hopefully something they can sustain. So if they can sustain it, and you take series, you take the 2 out of 3 series and whatnot, you can look back to the Nationals series as a turning point. That being said, do I have faith in that? Absolutely not. I think this is a wildly inconsistent team, and you've gotten a lot of people from the discount store right now who are showing up big time to start. What are they going to be able to contribute long term? Okay, they got a shot. They're being called up. They're being optioned. They're this and the other thing. We want to make an impact, and that's great. And you can really have a good week based on that kind of incentive and that kind of want to prove yourself in a big town and with your new team. That being said, though, I just don't see it as being this kind of consistent team that we need to have, and the plugging of holes with paper instead of cement kind of thing. That's a terrible analogy, but like just this Band-Aid mentality of these, throw everything at the wall, get every kind of like has-been player, older player, or disgraced player, and just see which one works. For me, I can't stand the fact that that's the method of trying to maintain success, instead of it just being the random fill-in here and there that it should be, and that it is on most teams that truly compete. And so I hope they have consistency and they go someplace with this. And you can look back to the Washington series as being the thing that turned it around after one of the worst weeks in recent memory since the Flores game. It was kind of the worst week.
Like 2 hits.
Yeah,
in 3
and then
games or
the disgrace of Callaway making excuses for Cano, the lackadaisical bullshit that Cano is, that he's always been, that he always will be. And and then everything with Cess, which we'll get into later, having a really shitty fucking week, and then they turn it around. So hopefully that's the 5 days in Flushing version of 2019.
I mean, this was late into the regular season in 2015 when the Mets pulled that sweep off against the Nationals. So maybe this could just be a little bit earlier.
I mean, I hope so.
You take this momentum at least into the All-Star break, and then from there you see where you stand. I mean, right now the Phillies, they're the ones that are on top, and they're probably going to stay like that throughout the remainder of the season, unless they suffer a collapse, they have any injuries,
or Atlanta gets their shit together.
Yeah. And then that's what it is. The NL East was going to be competitive regardless.
Yeah,
but
we weren't expecting to be this kind of competitive. We were expecting to be actually competitive.
Yeah.
Because we had predictions when we did our other show that we can't do, that we can't use footage from anymore. I had much dire predictions for the Mets than you did. I had them as being like 82 and whatnot wins, but still, because the NL East would have been so good, falling short of the playoffs. You had them winning the World Series. And
I thought they could run with it. We had the team. Look, I was hopeful Cespedes was going to come back at the time.
Oh God, I could have told you otherwise. But no, I mean, we both had a prediction that the East was going to be the best division in baseball, and it just has turned out to be one of the shittier divisions in baseball. I mean, has it though?
I mean, look,
it feels like it, just because we're
looking at the standings right now. You have the Phillies; they're 30-21 as of today's date, which is May 25th. And then the Braves are in second place with 29 and 23 wins. They're a game and a half behind the Phillies. Then you have the Mets; they're 24 and 26 with 5.5 games behind the Phillies. Then the Nationals are 20 and 31, and then you have the Marlins sitting at the bottom. So, I mean, as of now, it's the top 3 teams. It's our job to kind of beat up on these bottom feeders to say.
Yeah, and that's...
But we fell short of that, the past weekend where we got swept by the Marlins, because say we won two of those games, out of the three, we would have been one game below 500.
Fair. I mean, yeah.
And we would have been maybe like 3.5 games within the Phillies.
That's fair. That is fair. I mean, the NL East is basically the same story all around. Like the Central, the top teams have 29 wins, so it's only one short of what we have and whatnot. But, we're lucky we've got the Marlins, and, of course, the failure of not beating up on them looms large over us. 16 wins, and they only really got to anything above 10 because of us. And, the Nationals are at 20, which is pretty low in itself. You take the NL West, the fifth-place team is 21 wins. You take the NL Central, the fifth-place team is 23 wins. Yeah. And then the AL, you got the Yankees at 32, the Twins at 34 wins, the Astros at 34 wins. And again, with the exception of the Royals and the Orioles, then, the next team up is in the 20s. So the NL East is not shaping up to be this ultra-competitive, premier division of baseball that everyone was predicting.
Well, the AL has always dominated.
Because of the DH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the NL does decide to actually...
How do you feel about that?
DH, I want it, to be honest.
See, I didn't for the longest time, and now I've kind of betrayed myself and come around to the idea of it. As much as we love seeing the occasional Syndergaard, DeGrom home run at the end of the fucking day, like...
I mean, that's going to happen once every,
exactly.
20, 30 at-bats? Like, what's it even worth for? I understand, like, if you try to be strategic with it, right, and you think of it in a traditional, style, everyone who's on the field has to also bat.
Yeah.
But think about it. You're facing an AL team, and then they're coming into an NL
and their teams are built for that.
Exactly, and it's automatic strikeout.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like, what would it be more?
I mean, it's nice when they're there, and obviously their pitchers are usually not going to hit anything. We have a little bit of an advantage, but when we're in their ballpark, they have teams that are built with that extra batter in mind, and their 3, 4, or 5 hitters going to be raking it in, whereas ours aren't necessarily going to be doing that.
Like, say the Mets had a healthy team, right? If we're bring it back to the show, and we did have Jed Lowry playing. We had a healthy Cespedes, let's say, right? You're already filling in 2 roster spots where, say, you'll get a McNeil who's not going to probably play in the outfield. And then what do you do with him? Or he's not going to play in the infield because Cano, Rosario... You got Cano
as a DH or Cespedes as a DH.
Exactly.
And, and then you can have McNeil in his prime spot.
Or I'm sure Dom Smith, like, he probably hates playing once every week.
Yeah.
And then if he wants to have a big spot up, you want to throw him in that DH spot because he could hit for power, or maybe you put Alonso in that DH spot.
It makes sense.
And you put Dom Smith, it gives you better defense.
It absolutely makes sense. It makes complete sense. And I would have hated myself as recently as 2 years ago saying this, but I do support going to the DH now. And it's just the times have changed, and the desperation of a Met fan who wants to win and knowing that it's very, very hard to do so when you have teams all around you and you have more interleague play than ever to be able to compete in that way against teams built to win in that way. So what about the Tigers? They lost last night.
I mean, but like you said, it was.
Who's pitching today?
It's Jason Vargas.
Jason.
So the story with Sheyne yelling, "Jason,
Jason."
We were at a Mets game and it was freezing outside, and the Mets they were facing the Twins, and DeGrom was starting, but he allowed 4 or 5 runs in the beginning of the game, so the whole stadium was already like deflated. No one was really into it. However, the Mets did make a comeback. They had a push, but the bullpen let it go, like always. And
who they bring out of the bullpen?
I forget all the names that they brought in.
Are you sure it was DeGrom who started that game?
DeGrom started that game.
So why did Jason come out? Oh,
because Jason came out to relief. So then I think it was the 8th inning. Jason Vargas came in.
Or 7th, something like that,
and then Jason Vargas comes into the game. He already has like 2 runners on. And just before...
And it's freezing cold, so no one... Like, it started out maybe 22,000 people on a weeknight, and it was down to maybe 8,000 people. So we're in the 336, 335
we're sitting
Budweiser section. Yeah. And so all the way from there... he's about to deliver a pitch, and I just go, Jason! And you actually caught it on SNY later on, and he gave up. What did he give up?
Was it like a 3-run homer?
I didn't lose us that game because Victor tried to give me shit and say, you fucked up his head, and he gave up that pitch, but we still lost by.
I mean, we came close. I think we rallied in that night.
Yeah, but we still, even without the 3 runs, we would have
Yeah.
still lost the game. So it was a funny moment. So now whenever we mention Jason Vargas, we go, Jason!
Well, Jason Vargas is the human white flag for the Mets. So today's game that we're actually going to at 4:10.
That's right. It's Robinson Cannot bobblehead day.
Yeah, we'll get into Robin, a little later. But with Jason Vargas starting the game right now, this game could go either way. To be honest.
Yes.
I don't know who the Tigers have.
The Tigers have Ryan Carpenter, which is who he. Oh shit.
What are his stats looking like?
0-2 with a 13 ERA.
All right, so this should be a good.
He has 7 strikeouts. In 2 starts for the team this year, Carpenter has allowed 13 earned runs over 9 innings. Most of Carpenter's season has been spent with AAA Toledo, where he was 1-4 with a 4.15 ERA in 7 starts. Whereas Jason Vargas will return from a 3-week stay in the injured. Has it been 3 weeks? It doesn't seem long enough.
It's been a great 3 weeks.
Well, we got swept by the fucking Marlins, so it hasn't been that great. Injured list, rehabbing a strained left hamstring. He was in something of a groove prior to sustaining his injury, with a 3.00 ERA and nearly a strikeout per inning in his 4 most recent starts. Post Jason. So I think I was matching for him, actually. Yeah. So he owes me 10% of his earnings this year. What's your prediction for today's game?
Well, let's look at the starting lineup first. We have Ahmed Rosario.
They have it out already?
Yeah, they have it out. So he'll be batting first. J.D. Davis out in left field. Pete Alonso in first. Wilson Ramos catching. Carlos Gomez out in center. Todd Frazier at third. Hechavarria at second base. And Altair in right field.
This is fucking bullshit. I'm so sick. I was talking about this yesterday, right? Like, Lagares is... Oh, fucking motherfucker. Like, Lagares has gotten hot the last 2 nights.
Know.
And the fucking genius of Mickey fucking Mouse Callaway, who isn't even as shrewd as Mickey fucking Mouse, it's like, oh, okay, well, Lagares has gotten hot now, so I think the best thing to do is give him 2 days off. You fucking dope. You dumb fucking dope. Why are you giving Gomez the showboating fuckface? Okay, he hit 1 home run, and you're going to give him starts above the better center fielder and lately the better hitter? You're a fucking moron. How do you feel about it, Victor?
I think Gomez should be starting out in either left or right field, to be honest.
Right field?
Yeah.
Fine.
Let him go, but Lagares should be having the spot. He's been the veteran. He's been on the team since, 2007? No, but I'm saying that's when the Mets got him.
Oh, you mean like when they drafted him?
Yeah, when they drafted him in the organization.
Well, I don't even care about that. I care about who's hot. Because Lagares has stunken up for a good number of years. Once he got that extension after his Gold Glove year, he tahotted it for a while. Let's be fucking fair about that.
Yeah, he was
like, I've never been big on him since that. But if you're hot right now and he looks like he gives more of a shit and he came in trimmer, he came in better and he's been hot lately, play the hot fucking hand. I'm tired of that shit. And Davis is a huge liability in left field defensively.
I agree with that, which is why, going back to the discussion we had before, he should probably be DHing this game.
And Frazier's playing third?
Frazier's playing third. So
fucking joke.
It's going to be that left side of the field is going to look a little bleak.
Ahmed's been good.
Yeah.
Defensively.
I'm saying anything that goes right along the third base.
Fucking joke. You take Frazier out, you put JD at third, and you put you want to put Gomez in left or Altair in left. Maybe he's not using it, whatever, to fucking put Lagares in center. Fucking stupid.
But then what? Are they thinking to give Lagares a start tomorrow? From there...
Who the fuck knows? Yeah. He'll probably hit 2 home runs tomorrow. He'll go 4 for 5 tomorrow.
I'm actually curious. I want to see if
Conforto says he's back.
I know. I'm surprised they didn't put him in the lineup. Maybe he'll probably pinch hit tonight.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And then they'll give him a start tomorrow, and then who knows? I mean, who knows? Maybe it would just be Davis, Gomez, and Altair tomorrow too. After we lose 7-5 today, which is my prediction.
7-5. I want the Mets to win, so I'm gonna give them. I would say maybe 6-5.
Ooh.
6-5.
6-5 Mets.
6-5 Mets. Yeah.
What do you want to happen? As opposed to what you think is going to happen. Because what I want to happen
I want the Mets to win 6-5. Realistically, I think the Mets, if what's his name, Jason Vargas allows 5 runs. Jason. If he allows 5 runs in the first inning, then that game is over. Everyone's gonna be throwing their Cano bobbleheads on the field.
Well, it'll probably get to the field quicker than he'll get the first, and in better condition. All right. So yeah, we mentioned Conforto's back. I mean, do you think this is a rare occasion where the Mets did not botch a concussion injury, or is this going to be Jason Bay all over again, or Ike Davis heel?
Maybe they're just playing it safe at this point. Who knows?
Which is fine.
Like, I'd rather not have him play for 5 more games from this date than to have him play a week and then he's out.
Exactly. Yeah, and I agree with that. That's fine. And I think having.
And now we do kind of have depth in whatever outfield we do have. Yeah. Like maybe Gomez does prove himself and he's pretty much the player who the Mets wanted back when we wanted to trade Wilmer Flores for.
Ugh. I don't think so.
And actually, referring to that point, it's funny how it goes all full circle.
Yeah.
So the Mets well, I remember I was actually at that game. It was against the Colorado.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
nice.
it was. I was sitting in like the upper decks, but right behind home plate. And I remember seeing on the TVs that they had up that Wilmer was crying, but I didn't realize, obviously, while you're watching the game, they don't have any play-by-play going on. Yeah. So I look up on my phone.
You gotta go to the bathrooms to hear Howie. Yeah.
And so I look up on my phone and I'm like, oh my God, Wilmer Flores is about to get traded, but he's still playing on the field and he's crying. Obviously, that was the team that he started off with. And
what was your guess that he was crying for?
I thought like someone died in his family or whatever the case was. Who knows? And whatever. So when we found out that he was supposed to be traded for Carlos Gomez, that didn't fall through because I think it was a physical that he failed.
They didn't like the.
And then that year we got Yoenis Cespedes, who helped. He did help to carry the team in 2015.
I mean, he had a 6-7 week run that was unheard of.
Exactly.
It was the best. I mean, many people said it was the best trade deadline acquisition for a competitive team.
Yeah.
They had seen in recent times. So I mean, I still love that trade.
Absolutely. I'm not like, oh, look at that. But now we're in 2019. Cespedes is out for the year. And guess who we have in our outfield? Carlos Gomez. And where is Wilmer Flores? And what is it, Arizona now?
Yeah.
So it's a little...
They had Wilmer's Flores bobblehead night out there.
Oh, wow, good for him. But
better than he ever got here.
But I think he has a broken leg now. Is it already fractured?
Is it? I don't know.
Did you look it up when we were at the game? Wilmer Flores.
Did I? I don't think I did. Man, we're a prepared show. You just hear the I could go on a rant while you're researching it.
Yeah, go for it.
This backpack bullshit at Citi Field. Okay, so let me get started on that fucking bullshit. So I what the fuck? Let's call it what the fuck it is. And since we have to put visuals behind this anyway, right now I'm gonna put a couple pictures up to what the lines look like this past Tuesday. All right. Anyone who's dumb enough to believe that the Mets are fucking for real is like, oh, it's for your safety. No, it's fucking not. Let me tell you a goddamn story. A couple of years ago, right, I was going to a game. It had been raining during that day and whatnot. And my girlfriend at the time was going with me. And I went through security first. In the rotunda, I would go through security first. And then all of a sudden, big explosion. No one knows what the fuck it is. Now, this is, mind you, not long after the Ariana Grande concert. So there was a big explosion, and I remember feeling debris hit my leg and my shoulder and my elbow and whatnot. And another woman started like reacting because something had gotten in her eye from the explosion. It was just smoke everywhere in the rotunda. I turn around, my girlfriend is still outside the gates. Victor just fell through my IKEA chairs that are falling apart. And my girlfriend outside, we look at each other, we give each other a look like, oh shit, something's happening. I just like, go home. I'm standing right there in the rotunda because like other people are running, other people are standing there. And I'm like, I'm fine now. If something else goes off, I'm probably fucking dead, so it doesn't matter. And what are the fucking inept little dickhead guards there? Because Citi Field's known for having some of the angriest fucking security people of all time. Other stadiums, they don't treat you like that. Met fans who haven't been to Fenway, haven't been to other places, they don't treat the fans like they do at Citi Field everywhere else. It's a fucking anomaly of anger. And it's probably because the management treats them so fucking shitty because they only give them windbreakers for fucking April games. Well, whatever, I digress. So what do? They shut the rotunda down and tell everyone coming in to go to other gates And they tell everyone in the rotunda. They don't ask if anyone needs medical assistance. So one woman's got glass in her eyes. She's fucking, other people have scratches. I'm fucking got little cuts on me from the glass hitting my leg. And they're like, go to your seats. You dumb fucks. You dumb. What if someone brought a fucking bomb in and they had another one? You just said, go in the stadium, have at it. Have the fuck at it. They didn't shut. They brought the bomb sniffing dogs, and eventually they figured out it was a fucking light in the. It took them 20 minutes to figure out there was those lights that are in the ground.
Yeah.
Water had gotten through from the rain, and the light exploded.
Oh shit.
And so at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. But that's right where people walk, though. So it hit a bunch of people. This one woman had to go seek medical attention, but she had to seek medical attention with glass in her fucking eyes. And then what do they do when people talk to them about it? They're like, it ain't that big a fucking deal. Go to your seats. What, you gonna cause a problem? You're gonna cause a problem? Like that. This is their mind frame. So anyone who believes the Mets give a shit about safety, you're stupid. You're stupid and Mickey Callaway trying to make an in-game fucking decision of who to waste when you announce them in the game and then pull them the fuck back and you could have used them because you're in extra fucking innings. Dumb fuck. So this whole bag policy shit, right? It is not for your safety. It is because they're starting to let go of security personnel or give them just less shifts. And that's all it is. Tuesday night, they had 2 lines open with the metal detector archways for metal detectors that they still had to wand you because they went off for like a belt or they went off for an earring or some shit. They have 2 lines for that. So the lines for people with no bags are backed up to the fucking Apple or the train on a Tuesday. And they had 3 or 4 lines open for bags. You can still bring in a messenger bag. You can still bring in a purse. You can still bring in all this shit.
You can bring in a tote bag.
Yeah, you can. You stupid ass Met tote bag. And it's not for that. And then they said they were going to have lockers for people who didn't know the policy. They ain't no fucking lockers. So Victor and I go on Wednesday, and we see these 2 motherfuckers trying to get in. There were no lockers, so I bet you they went home.
Yeah, I was about to offer them. I was be like, if you guys give me $5, I'll keep your bag in my car.
Yeah, you were like, let me do one swindle, exactly. Because we just got swindled by this guy outside. But that's another story. But it's just fuck that shit, and it just shows if the Mets can make a shit decision with regards to how they treat their fans, they're gonna make it, and then they're gonna multiply it in shittiness tenfold, and it's just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting how they treat us. And their ineptitude also, the Wilpons can save money so Jeff can go make more model toy ships and his fucking little bottles like the fucking white-collar bitch that he is, clueless little fucking
You know what I wonder? You know those like summer games where they take kids to the ballpark?
Yes.
Don't kids always carry backpacks?
Not anymore.
Like, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, no, these kids definitely can't come in. They're going to send them all back home. They're going to send them back to the public school.
Yeah.
I think it takes a blow to the fan base. I mean, if of all the Mets games that I've gone to, I would say about half the time I do bring a book bag, whether or not it's to carry a blanket to keep me warm, a jacket, whatever the case is, or
there is a giveaway and you just want to put it in your bag.
Yeah, exactly. Or I went to Queens College, so sometimes right after class I would head over to the ballpark, and what do you think I carried to class? A backpack. So now the fact that, say you got, or Shayne's coming from work.
From work, I got my laptop or like external drives. I do editing at work and shit like that sometimes. Like,
it's a little ridiculous. I mean, I think there's other stadiums that do have it.
They do.
I think, Yankee Stadium has it as
well. Because they think because they're the Yankees, that if, the terrorists came and they blew up Yankee Stadium, it'd be such a blow to the American psyche, so we got to protect the Yankees because, we're the Yankees. And with America's team, we're like the Dallas of New York. Go fuck yourselves.
Okay, was that the rant of anything else you want to add to the bag policy? I mean, they're not going to change it.
No, they're never going to. I'm just surprised they didn't ban more, to be honest with you. And I think it'll be incremental over the years because it's all about closing gates. They close the gates now. The center field. The bullpen, left field, right field, they're closing them earlier than ever now.
Yeah, I mean, we got to the ballpark and we had to run
to the rotunda.
We got to the bottom of the 4th, or it was the top of the 5th when we got to the game.
Started 7:10. They're closing the gates, all of them, by 8:10, 8:15 now, and that's just like
people come late to the game. I do it sometimes.
Yeah, you're still catching 2.5 hours of the fucking game. So it's like, I mean, I guess we probably could have gotten in via McFadden's, like the side door McFadden's. That'll I would imagine stay open. But it's just they don't make life easy. And McFadden's, for anyone who knows, and anyone who's listening to this obviously knows the stadium, is on the exact opposite side of the stadium. And you can't always walk through because sometimes the player's entrance is open. You got to go around the parking lot. They just make life harder. And that's just like, you should be, for as little as this ownership puts into the team and as inept as the management is in how they run the team, the fact that the Mets still have the most loyal fan base, albeit the most critical, but also the most knowledgeable fan base in all of MLB, you still have people showing up. You should be fucking on your knees, sucking the dicks and licking the cunts of everyone who shows the fuck up and drops $100 a time when they come. And the parents that have kids are dropping $200-$300 so their kids can have a fucking cotton candy. Don't make life harder for them. And the people who show up with backpacks because they have kids and strollers or shit like that, like, let their lives be a little bit easier. Messenger bags are not as easy as a backpack. And yes, now they've changed it up to where it's like you can have a clear backpack with no hidden compartments. But like, all right, I want to show my diapers and I want to show my tampons and I want to show my this and I want to show my this. Like, no, people like, whatever, rant over. Back on topic.
Yeah, what was it? Are we still on the player trade, or you just wanted to go on being a Mets fan in general?
You decide.
You know what? Okay. The Mets just signed Matt Kemp to a deal, or they took him off waivers. What was it? Yeah. So he joins the discount store from the Mets, and
I'll take you to the discount shop.
And what do you think of that?
Again, I reiterate what I said earlier today, that like, if these are low risk, high reward, or they should be low risk, high reward acquisitions, to where it's like, all right, what can you lose? Matt Kemp had a lot in the tank still when he had his resurgence with the Dodgers.
I mean, what was it in 2016,
17?
No, 2017. He was an All-Star.
Yeah. I mean, like he still had something in the tank, so you never know. That being said, I hate the fact that this is the cure-all mentality and not the Band-Aid, let's see what we can come out with kind of mentality. On its own, by itself, why not? Fuck it. You ain't losing anything. I'm sure we'll see him in a week.
Probably. And Irving Santana, too. He got signed to a minor league deal.
Yeah. The hope is that one of them can maintain something. Yeah. And I feel like Gomez is going to be gone and Matt Kemp's going to be up. Because Gomez, with the exception of that one home run, is stinking the fucking ballpark up. Like, yesterday I was at the game, and yes, he made one amazing catch, and he showboated the whole fucking time. Like, the Brewers mentality. I mean, he's always been that player, but the Brewers, especially 10 years ago, they nurtured that mentality of, we think we're better than we are, and let's just walk around like cocky motherfuckers. And he still does that. The home run where he won it for the team. If you actually look at him, he does this thing where he hits it and he crouches down with that, like, and he's wiggling his first 2 or 3 fingers on his fucking hand. I think he gave
the okay side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that big. Yeah, that's what people want to see. And he's wiggling instead of running it the fuck out. And he's lucky he got out, because he would have been lucky to get a double had it not been out. And that's, and it's one of those, it's Hosmer on third base. The dumbest fucking way you can approach a situation. You get lucky, you're a hero. You don't get lucky, you're the GOAT. And more often than not, Gomez is going to be the GOAT. So I really do feel like if Gomez doesn't start hitting, and yesterday there was a ball, it lands in front of him, he doesn't know where the runner is. So he's going to make this move to throw to second. He realizes, oh shit, someone's rounding third. Let me throw a shitty, no effort throw at the last minute, because he wasn't aware of his surroundings. And then through the whole game, I just see the coach waving his hands in the dugout, trying to get Gomez's attention to move him in the outfield, because he can't keep track of what batter's got what. He doesn't have his little cheat sheet in his back pocket like Lagares has. I mean, granted, back in the day when Hernandez and Strawberry played, they didn't need cheat sheets. They fucking just remembered things. Whatever, different times. He's not getting it because he's just sitting there, standing there, looking at his nails, looking at himself on the screen, looking at the honeys in the fucking stadium and all that shit, and he's just not paying attention. So hopefully Matt Kemp can replace his ass and give a little bit more, because Matt Kemp has always been a better player than Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, I do. Well, Matt Kemp, he's now 34. He was released by Cincinnati on May 4th, and as of now, his stats for the year, he's batting .200 with a home run and 5 RBIs. So he hasn't done much.
No, he hasn't.
And I think this is a chance maybe he could prove himself. Maybe he'll be better after the All-Star break. whatever the case is.
If anything, I feel you would have a smarter.
Yeah, I mean, Mickey Callaway,
smarter baseball man.
He said obviously he still has a pretty high ceiling considering that he was an all-star a couple years ago. It's
not all dissimilar from the Cano idea.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Do I expect anything from it? No, but I'm a bitter old fuck.
And check this stat out. New York has 11 players on the injured list, including 4 outfielders and 5 pitchers. So
that's better than usual, though.
Yeah. You can start a team with the players that are on the IL.
It's true. They should have instead of Old Timers Day, they should have IL Day.
Yeah. Missing from the outfield. Well, the regular Michael Conforto concussion. He was probably going to come back either today to pinch hit or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll just rest
My
him
bank
for the
would
next
be
couple
Monday.
Yeah. Brandon Nimmo.
Because you know what? You know what? I think I would rest him today and tomorrow because they have to fly tomorrow.
I think they fly to
LA. And then they're facing Clayton Kershaw. So I would actually fly him tonight. Let him get a day of rest, get adjusted. Because from a concussion, like flying alone is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. So if he is 100%, as they're saying in the article, fly him now.
True.
And let him rest, and see how he really is after flying 6 hours. And then see if he's really ready to go in LA. And it gives him 3 hours extra to rest and blah, 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 blah. Do I think the Mets will be smart enough to do that? No.
No, I doubt it. And then the other 2 players that the Mets, or I should say the other 2 everyday outfielders that the Mets had were Nimmo and McNeil. McNeil with a left hamstring tightness.
That's troublesome.
We'll see. And then Alther's pretty much, I guess, subbing in temporarily. He's kind of that fill-in. Mm-hmm. It says, based on this report, Conforto was eligible to come off the 7-day concussion list Friday, but he was not reinstated. He took batting practice on the field. So he's been cleared for baseball activities.
That's good.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Going from there, I mean, if we talk about the Irvin Santana, his career stats are 149 wins and 127 losses with a 4.09 ERA. He's been playing for 15 years. Wow.
Makes sense.
I think.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him play. I think he was with the Twins. He faced the Yankees in that All-Star game. I mean, not in the All-Star game, the wild card game. And then, he's played with the Angels, Royals, Braves, Twins, and the White Sox. The right-hander, referring back to that 27 season, went 16-8 with a 3.28 ERA. So, then again, this could just be a low-risk, high-reward signing for the Mets. And maybe you get Jason Vargas out of there.
I was about to say. It's Irving. I feel with both those acquisitions, optionings, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like even if it's a lateral move, I'd rather have people who have better baseball minds and clearly
who have the
more
experience.
Of a shit. Who have the experience and just give more of a shit. Like, I mean, Gomez and Vargas had the experience, but I feel like
they probably
getting rid of Gomez for Matt Kemp would be, even if it's a lateral move, just a better mood as far as clubhouse guy, less showboaty, and just has his head in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I mean, granted, but then again, Matt Kemp did get fat for a while. Then he figured it out, and he was like, "All right, let me get my shit back together and stay in shape." Whereas Gomez never had that problem. But just judging on the last few years alone, I don't know. I mean, I could just really hate Gomez, which is an entire possibility.
That could be very true, but I mean, he was killing it in AAA, so I guess he did deserve the chance to come up.
He does, yeah.
But if he's not gonna be consistent, or he's gonna be, misplaying the outfield, whatever the case is, then what's the point?
Look at it this way: that play yesterday, where he didn't know where the guy was,
that could have been.
It would have been a tie game.
Yeah,
and that's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. Yeah. I'm gonna be like, Carlos!
I mean, look at it. Think about, Sheyne has a corporate softball league that sometimes I'll sub in for. And usually, the game that we just played on Wednesday, we lost because it was just some mental errors out in the infield and outfield.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first baseman of the day who was doing us a huge favor by filling in.
Absolutely.
And who hadn't played in like a year.
Yeah.
He missed a very easy throw to first, and that cost 2 runs. Yeah. It would have at least been tied, if not
but the
winning.
thing is, if you're alluding back, we're not professionals, whereas
exactly.
These guys are professionals.
Yeah, we're all coming from... And that dude, he came... God bless him. He went from work near Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
to the Bronx to Parkchester, back to Harlem to take the bus to Randall's Island.
Shit, man.
All in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't have all day to sit in the clubhouse and have our personal fucking chef make us whatever the fuck we want and then play pool and then go into the cages and then fucking... And then figure out what we're going to do that night, which club we're going to go to meet which girl. God, they have the life.
Yeah.
They have the fucking life. Anyway, I mean, we have a few topics left. I mean, Cespedes, right?
Oh, God. This fucking guy.
Ooh, I hear a rant coming from you.
This fucking guy. I mean, look, with what he did for the Mets in 2015, 2016, I got to give it to him. He saved us. Because probably the Mets wouldn't have been as relevant without him.
Definitely not.
However, you break your leg on your ranch. I don't know. I'm just built up with frustration because that was the guy who we were hoping for to come back in your lineup. You know, give us that offense that we need. And now we're just sitting on our hands, going back to the conversation we had before, shopping at the discount store.
Yeah. I mean, they are getting... they did get insurance money back.
Okay.
What is this for the moment? I think it's gonna give them the spend.
And then you go back.
Account for 75% of the 29 million owed to Cespedes, and the 15 owed towards right back.
Okay.
And
yeah, but now with this money that they got back, with the confidence that you had with the right, with the Cespedes, even going back with when we signed Jason Bay, you think the Mets are gonna sign a big time free agent?
Fuck no.
We weren't even talked about when Bryce Harper was shopping on the market.
Yeah.
When who else? It wasn't Cody. He was the guy from Arizona.
Goldschmidt. Oh
no, that was the first baseman. AJ Pollock.
Yeah.
AJ Pollock. Now he's a Dodger. So what's gonna happen in free agency come 2019, 2020?
Yeah.
Who are we gonna get? Are there any? I'm actually.
You know who I want?
Who?
Rendon. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
For third base?
He's a free agent. We have no one in third base. Frazier's day has come and gone, and it never came here in New York. And J.D. Davis is not the solution.
And you didn't even play yet.
Huh?
You didn't even play yet.
Who?
J.D. Davis. No, I'm sorry. I mixed him up with Jed Lowry.
Get your shit together, Victor.
My bad. All right, we'll go back.
No, we don't need. No, that's in there. No, that's in there.
That's not going to go in there.
That's definitely in there. No, but like, okay, yeah, I mean, granted, Jed Lowry hasn't done it, but he's not the answer either. I'm sorry. He's an aged player. He's a bench guy. And when you try to make the bench the everyday roster, you end up with a team like we have today. So, and while McNeil is a good third baseman, like, I'd rather see, because Cano's not going to last. So, if you have a healthy outfield, which is less and less likely every day, you need McNeil out there when he comes back, or at second base. He's a better second baseman. Rendon, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I have no illusions about the fact that Rendon isn't going to be completely injured within 4 months of being on this team and not be the same player because it's the curse of the free agent here. However, that being said, you still got to make moves. And Rendon is not going to break the bank at all. He's going to cost money, but he's not going to break the bank. And he's a solid bat, and he's a solid third baseman. He knows the NL East. I don't see a better option out there in free agency next year.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the infield, that's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Josh Donaldson, he might be available, but he's old. He's 34 now. Didi.
Gregorius?
Yeah. But, I mean, you don't think you can play him at third base. We need someone at that corner.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think Rendon's the way to go. I mean, if they did, I mean, obviously everyone wants Keuchel right now. Like, and I do too. Like, if you need someone to shore up that rotation because you've got a lot of question marks. From DeGrom down, you have the question marks. And a lot of aces have been suffering this year. It ain't specific to the Mets. For once, the shitstorm is not explicit to Queens. But, like, Thor is a question mark, as we saw yesterday. He's on point yesterday. It's an easy victory. DeGrom's a question mark. He comes and he goes. Matz and Wheeler, you never know what you're gonna get, and I mean, and then Jason, it's and Lugo's out right now. He's also on the IL, and I'm sorry, Gagnon and fucking Font, fuck out of here.
I when they're in the game, I mean, when they put in Gagnon in the game where they won 6-1, I was a little nervous.
Yeah. But still, like fine out the pen, but starting no, and Font is just. I mean, he wasn't horrific, but like he's not the guy for it. And Keiko will be great, but do you think they'll do anything with the insurance money?
No, they're not.
Then we are in agreement.
Yeah, that unless something magical happens, I doubt it.
Like
unless Brody Van Wagenen, he's just like, you know what, let's sign this guy. I don't know how he'll convince the Wilpons.
I mean, yeah.
But
I mean, the only way Sandy Olison was convinced by his people to sign Cespedes, and he convinced Jeff to do it, was because they saw that there was a chance that they could have postseason play and revenue, and that's it. And like this early in the year, they're not convinced of anything. So the chances of a Keuchel or something like that being available come the trade deadline or whatever is very slim, and that's the only time I feel like the Wilpons are going to be like, ooh, there's a chance to really make some money if we make it to the postseason.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately that's always what it comes down to, because unless you're going to resurrect Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Weiss and Gil Hodges and whatnot and put back on the field the 55 Pee Wee Weiss, is that the right name?
You lost me. I know Jackie Robinson, not Pee Wee Weiss.
I think I got that sound. I don't know what the fuck it is. Anyway, but the 55 Dodgers on the field, that's the only way the Wilpons are going to spend any goddamn money, because Fred wants his team to be Brooklyn, which is another rant that I'll get into another time. But that's beside the point. So now let's go into our last part of the show. We got the Cano thing.
Cano thing.
Yeah.
I was there to talk about Cano. It's a little frustrating.
The whole situation is fucking frustrating. Like, I mean, you knew what you were getting when you signed him. You got a guy who does not fucking run things out. So the idea of changing him at 36 years old isn't going to happen. But when you have a bitch fucking manager who sits there and makes excuse after excuse, there's no fucking excuse. Gil Hodges took people out of the fucking game. David Johnson took people out of the fucking game. Named two better managers in our history. Took people out of the fucking game and didn't make excuses. Oh.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, with Cano, he's still injured, right? I mean,
because he tried to hustle it out to first and he fucked up his ankle or some shit. Like, I mean, I think that's personally hilarious. But I guess there is nothing to say about it. He
started off. I mean, that first at bat he had, people were losing their minds when Cano hit a home run.
Yeah.
But then aside from that, like, I don't think he's made an impact on the team to be like, wow.
No.
Like, this guy. Thank God we got him.
I've noticed less hustle from Rosario on certain plays. And I think that's an influence. Because I was saying, I don't know if I was saying it to you. I think I was saying it to you. I think we were lucky to have Jose teaching. Because Jose, for all the shit that some of you people want to get on him for, you want to go back to one example of that last at bat in 2011, which was inexcusable and fucktardish on Jose's part. Beyond that, though, especially the opportunity to come back, he did his very best. Did he suck a lot of the time? Absolutely. But so did the rest of his team. At least he was fucking trying. And to be able to pass the torch to the chosen one, who was like his little brother over there, like that was, we got lucky with that. And now you've got Cano, who, similar to how, what was I saying, the guy they traded, Melky Cabrera, who they had to trade off the Yankees because he was a bad influence on already lazy Cano. I feel like Cano is not, he's not the kind of clubhouse presence you want, inspiring, quote unquote, these players to give it their all. And sometimes I've seen some bad, and I like Rosario. For the most part, he's been really solid at that shortstop, but up the middle balls, I've noticed a little less hustle. And it could just be me. But that's my take.
I mean, going back to Cano, you look at his stats right now where he's only has 3 home runs and 13 RBIs in 45 games. If you look at the at-bats that he's had, 170. Yeah, in 170. So it's a little, I don't know, like...
Shitty?
I don't think, it is shitty. Like, he's not going to have an impact moving on in the season. Well, that's...
And I expected that. And again, that's a Diaz thing coming into play. Like, you got it for Diaz.
That's true, but now you have Robinson Cano for another 3 years until 2023.
I thought it was only 2. I don't know. I could maybe I want it to be 2, but what really pissed me off about the whole situation though is the lack of communication, and that's something that has plagued this organization, and it comes from the top. You saw it on Wilmer Flores night when there was no communication from Sandy to Terry to take him out of the game. And you see the fact that, like, Cano had an off-day schedule already, he said. And Brody was like, Brody and then Callaway are making excuses. And Callaway's like, well, one, he doesn't do well against lefty hitters. Two, he had an off day coming anyway. And three, it's to teach him a lesson. Like, when the third thing is to teach a lesson, you're throwing that in there to appease the fans because you look like a bumbling fucktard and an idiot. And then Cano's like, he didn't tell me that. I had a scheduled day coming, and I don't hit well against lefties.
No, the Mets have him until he's 40 years old.
Oh, fucking
2023.
Oh my God, kill me! But they're gonna have to dump that or just eat it. It's just that's what it's gonna come down to, and.
But I think Seattle, they are covering part of that.
Part of it, yeah. But I mean, hopefully the DH comes into play and he can do something there at some point.
Yeah, you put him in. You have him play 82 games. If we have a DH spot,
The microphone, sir. Use it.
Sorry. Yeah. There we go.
Technology is new for the millennial here. Not true. I don't even know how to airdrop something. He has to show me.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I hate the lack of communication and the lack of true accountability. But that's another rant. And so our final segment, something I want to do called "Will It So?" Make it so. Will it so? And do you get that reference?
No.
Captain Picard, make it so. Patrick Stewart, Professor Xavier. Make it so. All right, will it so? Yeah,
okay.
If we quantum leaped into Fred or Jeff's bodies
in an alternate universe,
we got lucky and we warged, like for you Game of Thrones fans. How sad was that last season? Into their bodies, what changes would we make?
With the team, I would allow bags, book bags. That would be my first change for the fans.
That'd be your first change.
Second, it would be I'll maybe get a new manager.
Well, isn't that the GM's call?
Yeah, but I mean, with knowing how the Wilpons are, I think they have a say in everything that happens with that team.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it's only Van Wagenen who's calling the shots.
Oh, absolutely.
They have a huge influence on him.
He's less of a puppet than Sandy was, but he's still a fucking puppet.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of getting an agent to be your GM is just a pathetic idea.
Maybe he knows the players.
You can know the player, but
I mean, if there's one thing I have to give credit is that we did sign Jacob deGrom. We did get into that extension where people were just like, what was it? Up until spring training, we had no idea if he was going to be on the team.
Yeah.
And
we also had time for that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's credit. I give the larger credit to having Alonso start the season with the team. I think that was a smart move because you lost a year of control over him. If you brought him up May 1st, you have a whole nother year of control.
Yeah.
And it was a statement at the time to say, we are bringing up our best 25.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly Pete Alonso, who...
I mean, what is he at? 17 homers now?
17 homers.
Incredible.
Exactly. And his defense has not been anywhere near the liability people thought it was going to be. He's definitely improving. He's definitely been a good presence and whatnot. And I don't look at it as being DeGrom's team. I just don't. I don't think... With the exception of maybe Seaver, and even then, it wasn't even Seaver setting the tone. Franco was the captain. He played as the closer. Or the setup man. He's playing most games anyway. I think the clubhouse needs to be set by someone who's on that field every day.
Yeah.
And where it stands right now, that's Conforto when he's there. And I think Alonso has... You have a chance to have a good 3-4 going on with this team if they're healthy. I think the tone is set by them.
Yeah.
Moving forward. Not yet with Alonso, but just that statement of bringing him up, I think that was... To me, that was the best move Brody did because it's a move that is going to ultimately cost your team money.
Well, with what I like Pete Alonso is that when David Wright came up, he had that impact. And it's the exact same thing playing out. It's a new generation. Mm-hmm. I mean, almost nearly where David Wright retired, he unfortunately couldn't play anymore. Yeah. Now we have this guy who Mets fans.
I mean, you hope it's a Don Mattingly, Derek Jeter situation.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
Where one left in the win championship, exactly. One comes in. I mean, not that I have any illusions that we're going to win championships anytime before my death, but.
I mean, think of all the first basemen that we had before. We had the Lucas Dudas. We had the Ike Davis.
Ike could have been great. that they fucked up that treatment of his heel. And that whole scarlet fever, desert rose fever, whatever the fuck he had, I blame a lot of what happened to Ike Davis on that medical staff.
So that's where it's at, and now we have a legit first baseman, possibly with Dom Smith, a good backup. We have two pretty good first basemen. Where before, when we had Delgado, that was a strong position, but after he left, it was pretty bleak.
Yeah, and it was just a rotating.
Yeah, it was just
position of shit.
Terrible. Sheyne and I, we were at like a bar. We were watching a Mets throwback game from 2011, and we literally had no idea who any of the players were. We had Cowgill.
Colin Cowgill and fucking Josh Sen or Anthony Recker or you could go through any number of them. And unfortunately though, we're living that moment right now. In 8 years, we're going to look back on the Altairs. The Gomez will remember, but Echeverria, and you're looking back, and right now, that somehow the bottom of the lineup, they did a good job yesterday, but you look at this 6 through 8 in the order, you get those 3 people, 5 to 8, you're looking at these 4 players on the team, and you're just like, they're just Band-Aids right now. And again, that goes back to not doing anything with the money, not valuing, not reinvesting in this team, not having good backup plans.
When going to our segment with the Will It So, I think we should reinvest into the farm system because I have no idea who's coming out after Pete Alonso, who is the next guy who's going to take over the team or going to be the future for the Mets.
Yeah, very true. And as far as what I would Will It So, you kind of hit the nail on the head with a lot of that stuff. I'll do one real and one whimsical. I would set some standards of accountability and transparency with the team, and stop looking like idiots. And that goes back to almost the entire length of this organization, and especially for this current ownership from back to 1980. But Mickey giving Cano the day off, and the third reason why, and the not communicated reason why. Granted, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Cano could just be lying to try to make people look stupid, but something broke down there in that communication. And having a manager and a GM that just make constant excuses, enough is enough is enough. Word is bond, and there's no reason to just look stupid. Everyone's going to make, not every decision you're going to make is going to be gold, is going to pan out, but just have a different way of communicating to the fans and amongst each other, and set that tone from the top, have it trickle down, and when it doesn't trickle down, you hold those people accountable. It starts with the ownership, and then if I was the ownership, it starts with Brody, and if Brody fails at accountability, bitch, you're gone. Goodbye. Same thing with Mickey, and same thing with all of it. I would have some real accountability. As far as something whimsical, obviously the bag policy. All right, I'll save the retirement letters for next week.
Next episode.
But I would have promotions like today's bobblehead be available to everyone, not just the first 25,000 people.
What if you're a kid and you want that?
Yeah, and you show up late. And you might show up late because now you can't bring a fucking book bag, so you might be online. You might be trying to figure some shit out, and the lines are longer than fucking. They're already long on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Have it available to everybody, not just the first 20. And it's better than it used to be. It used to be maybe 15,000.
Yeah.
Now at least it's 25. So you probably are going to get it, but make it available to everybody because they're coming a lot of times for that. They're not coming to see a Danny Echeverria. They're not coming to see Jason. They're coming to have a good time, and kids especially, they love the toys. Make it available to everybody. Show some love to the fucking fans. Communicate with the fans, to bring back my prior point into this, and just have some goddamn class. That's what I would do.
And that's a wrap.
I think it's a wrap. I think that was a pretty successful first one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Where could they follow us if we do have an Instagram page?
You'll see it on the screen right now because we don't know what the fuck it is yet. Yeah. So you'll see it right now.
It might be standing room only.
Or it could be standing room only 2. No, let's not confuse them. You'll see it on the screen right now. Hopefully you'll come back, engage us. Our email's on there. Our handles are on there. And we hope that we can build a community and be one with you guys and gals. And we love you all. And we hope that you don't get too offended by my rants and the fact that I love everyone, but I simultaneously hate everybody, including myself, for loving this team. All right, Victor.
That's a wrap.
That was not necessary.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. We're out of here.
That was not necessary.
Okay, goodbye.
That was fun.